Good everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day. So today we will be talking about the flow builder, which is one of the important topic in platform dev certification. So last lecture we talked about process builders, right? And as I've demonstrated that how easy for you to automate a stuff, right? Automate a background process without much user intervention. So we use the process builder to trigger an event based on a record change, right? So today I'm going to demonstrate you how to create a flow. So you don't have to do everything using Apex code. You can do a lot of things using flow as well. So today the main topic is to demonstrate how to create an account using a flow, and then to use an if-else condition within the flow to create to display a screen, right? So I will demonstrate what I meant by that, right? Okay, so the first thing first, you need to log into your org. So you can use your sandbox org, or you can use your free developer account org, right? So when you log into your org, right, it will take you to this setup screen. If not, you can go to this gear cog icon and click on setup. It will take you to this page, right? And now let's type in flow here. So you got to go to flows, right? So depending upon the sandbox org or developer org you're using, you might see different flows here, right? So few of them will be active, some of them, like in this case, is inactive. So I won't bother with that. So we're gonna create a new flow. So flow you can create from here, right? So as you know that the main purpose of the flow, if you want a user interface, right, a user experience, for instance, let's say you send out a survey form to someone, right, and you ask the person, hey, can you tell me about the service which we have delivered in the last month or whatever, right? And can you rate us? So based on that, the user will see a checkbox or a radio box, usually a radio box, right? A radio button. So you choose the rating, and then you have to put a text there explaining the reason why you have decided to, rate the specific service on a scale of 1 to 5 or whatever, right? And that information gets collected and stored into a respective object. So that's one thing. And then we have credit card collecting information, where if you need a user interface, right, based operation where you can do click next, back, forward, right, and capture the information, then you can pretty much use flows. That being said, you can create a flow which do not involve a user interface. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So go to new flow, right? So it will, do you have screen flow and auto launch flow? So if you wanted to launch this from a process builder, so you can use this auto launch. So if you wanted to do, say for instance, a flow where you need a user intervention, then it's better to use the screen flow, right? So if you do not want it to do that, if you want to automate a certain task, right, you can use that using automated auto launch flow, right? So let's choose screen flow, and so it will take you to this nice looking canvas, right? So this is a canvas where you have a start button here, or a start option, or start element, and then you have these elements in the left hand side. You have a screen, you have an action, you subflow. These are for logic, and these are for create records, right? So mostly we're going to deal with screens here today. So you're going to drag and drop the screen here, right? And you will get this nice looking option here. So the flow label, so I will put it as account section, right? And so I will keep, so it's always good to have a description, because you actually know what is this, the purpose of this entire screen is about, right? If someone else looks at your flow, they can easily understand, right? Easily get the information by looking at the description. What are you trying to achieve using this flow, right? So this is to capture account name, right? So we're going to keep the flow very simple. You can make the flow as complex as you want. That's your choice based on your business requirement, right? So we're gonna keep it very simple. So this is a navigation bar, right? So we don't need to go previous because this is the first screen, right? So scroll down using the scroll bar, and you have this something called control navigation, right? And so go to so I don't want pause and I don't want previous, right? I only want next or finish, right? So we have this. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add so we have all this input elements. We have address, we have checkbox, we have date field, we have emails, so we have password field, we have pick list, right? Radio button. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna drag this display text. As the name indicates, it's only for display. So account display, right? Sorry, cannot contain under dash, right? It's because it's an API name, so it should be one word. This will be saying account capture detail, right? So you can align it the way you want it, right? Center align, right? So just to make it prettier, and then we will capture an account name, right? That's the only information we're going to capture, just to make it simple. We can change it if you change your mind the later course of the day, but for now, just to keep it simple, we're going to capture only just the account name. So drag this text box here, and we're going to name it as account name, right? And just going to keep account name, and that's pretty much we wanted to capture, right? And we're going to do done. Okay, so we have the screen account section here. So we got two things. So let's join this. This is nice looking. So you can the arrow, so you can join it. So it actually arrow indicates that that the process is moving forward, right? So now I've captured the information what I needed, right? I need what the main information what I wanted was the account's name, right? So I got that information, right? So now what we got to do is that we got to create a account object, right? Sorry, create an account record. So the way to do that, drag and drop this create record here, right, on the canvas. And we can name account creation. Description. This will create an account record, right? Use separate resource. So we're gonna create only one. We're not creating multiple. Use separate resource. This is what we wanted. The reason why we want this, I'll show you why. Let's use an account object, right? Now I want the account name, right? This account name, so to be populated from this boy account name. Remember on the screen flow on the screen interface we dragged and dropped the text object, right? And you're gonna capture account name using that text object, and that text object will the text object value will be passed on to this field name, right? I didn't want it to sound too technical, like a programmer for now. So, so you get my point, right? So what we have done here, so we've dragged and dropped this create record data element here, and we named this account creation API name, automatically generated based on the label and description, and then only one record we're going to create, right? And we use separate resource and literal values, right? And then we have selected an account object, right? And the purpose of the use separate resource and literal values so that we can assign specific values from a text to an object field, right? So here we are actually assigning account name to the name, right? Okay, so now we're just gonna go. Okay. No, cancel it. Sorry, that was a mistake. Okay, now store account ID in a variable, right? So what happens is when an account get created, right, an ID get generated, right? It's a ID, so account ID, which is a text field, right? And I want that ID to be stored uh, into a variable so that I can use that variable in the future to do an if-else condition to see if my ID is blank, then display a screen message saying accounts failed to create or whatever. And if the ID is not blank, then says accounts created successfully, right? Right. So just gonna go to create a new resource because we don't have a new resource here. We don't have a variable to hold account ID, right? So gonna name it as account ID, data type. So we're gonna choose a text, right? So available for input. So keep that if you wanted to test it. So this is usually if you wanted to test it outside the flow. So, and if you wanted to enter, so you can take this option. If not, it's your choice. So let's untick it. So because we're gonna test it from a dashboard, not from here. So click done. Right. So we have three elements here, right? Start, screen, and create record, right? So we gotta join this one from a screen to create records, right? So the process is moving forward from start to screen selections where you will be given an opportunity to enter account name, then you go to create record, right? Okay. So now we're gonna have to use if decision making, right? So if else, that's what you do decide. If this happens, then your outcome will be based on that. If something else happen, then outcome will be based on that. So let's drag and drop this decision box here, right? So we'll name it as account check and API name, right? So this is one side AC1. All condition are met, right? So resource, we will say account ID. This is what we created, right? The extra variable, remember? The variable which holds the account ID text, right? So not equals to, that's not equals to, let's see if we got a blank somewhere, empty string, right? So what does that tells you here is that if your account ID is not equals to blank or null, right, then proceed to next step to give a message to the user that an account has been created, right? Okay, so let's do done, and let's join this box here. Okay, so now we have this 4 elements here. Now let's create a screen element here one more, and let's we can call it as creation, right? Just put whatever you want. It's your choice. Give a meaningful name, right? Okay, so AC created. Okay, I'll just keep whatever API name. Just give a meaningful name. Just so account is created, right? So just move it to center. It's not a pretty looking interface, so my apologies for that. So drag and drop here to another one, screen to this canvas. So what we're gonna say failure, right? Just say failure. Okay, and just give ACCF account creation failed. It's like a typical developer debug message, right? All right, just for the sake of demonstration, I'm just gonna put this message, right? Please don't blame me for an ugly message. My apologies for that. I just wanted to give you an idea about how this stuff works, right? So let's join this to here. Now see the difference. It will ask you what outcome you wanted to. So you remember this ACC1 where we've specified if account ID is not equals to blank, right? Let's go here and then link this one here, right? That's all it is, right? Our flow is generated. So what happens is you go to an account creation page, right, where when you activate this flow, when you run this flow, so we'll first display you an account excuse me, display you an account name selection screen. You enter the name, move next, and then you will be, if the record is created successfully, you will be presented with the screen saying count has been created, right? One thing I forgot to do here, so navigation, we don't want to go back, so we just don't want it to, so please pay special attention to this, otherwise you might have problems going back and forth with the flows, right? So okay, done. All right, now we're gonna save it. This will say account creation flow, right? Okay, so, and we will activate it. Fantastic, right? Now let's go to accounts. Sorry, not accounts. Let's go to dashboard. Home. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna drag and drop the flow to somewhere here, and then we can initiate account creation from the home screen, right? Instead of going to account and clicking on new, I would like the user to create an account, a quick account, right? You know, for instance, a salesperson gets a call, right, and they have the successful whatever business process is that. If the salesperson said, "Oh, look, I wanted to create an account from a homepage rather than going to account screen," so you know we can do that using a flow. So that's one of the business scenario, a fictitious business scenario we're doing right now for this specific demonstration, right? So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna change this excuse me, this layout a bit. So go to this gear cog icon, go to developer console, and sorry, my apologies. Go to, not developer console, go to edit page. I've been coding a lot lately, so that's the default option that goes to developer console. Yeah, my apologies for that. Okay, so got flow here, right, on the left hand side, right? Use this flow, and let's move it here, right? You see, when you drag and drop the flow, it will give an option to choose different flow. So you can choose whatever flows you want based on from here. But since we got only one flow, it defaults to that, right? Pretty handy. So click on save, and activate, and save. Right, close. And let's go back. Let's see if we got a flow here. Right? That makes sense. Hang on. Okay, right. Just a second. It's always happened to me. Whenever I demonstrate, it never comes to the thing. Right. Seems like the flow is gone. Okay. Alright, what I'm gonna do, can I put it here? Okay, save. Okay, activate, save, assign as a default org, save, right, save it again, change is saved, so I hope we can see that now. There you go, we got a flow here, Fantastic, right? Okay, let's enter the name. Let's say dummy pub limited. Okay, that's the name. Account is created. Right, so let's see if we got an account created first of all, dummy pub. There you go. It's as simple as that, right? So that's why I said flows are very powerful. You don't have to write a code. It's all drag and drop, right? And it's connecting different components together, working your logic out. That's it. So your flow's gonna work a fantastic way. You can do very, very complicated stuff using flows, so I don't want to get into that today. I just wanted to show you how the flows works. It's a very important topic, guys. You need to understand where, because as a developer, if you don't know when to use flow, then it's not really gonna be a good experience for a user as well, because if you jump into write code for everything, that's not really good, right? So that's one of the things you need to understand: when to use the code, when not to use the code, right? A lot of things Salesforce gives you out of box using point and click. Flows is one of them, very powerful. You can do a lot of complex stuff using flows, right? At times you might encounter so-called limit error, so in that case you need to look into different options, right? So let's do a quick recap, right? So what we covered flows today, right? We drag and drop different elements onto the canvas, so we built a flow. We used if-else, right? Decision making. So in programming language, you use if-else, right? So that's one of the. So they imitated decision and while loops and other kind of stuff using the loops, right? So I hope you liked this video and I hope you got something out of it today. And please go through Trailhead. They have a lot of information about flows. And please practice, create a fictitious business scenario, and you can expand your flows. And you can, if you wanted to make it complicated, please go ahead based on a business scenario, right? It's all the business scenario that dictates your solution at the end of the day, right? That's all. It's important. The programming, it's not just about writing a piece of code. It's about the business problem you're trying to solve, right? There's certain times you don't need to write a code, right? You can do that using point and click option. Sometimes you got to write a code, right? So think from a business problem solution point of view, not from a writing code, right? Because I mean, anyone can write a code, right? Because learning a syntax is just a piece of cake. I mean, you can spend 2 weeks and you can Google it and you can form together. But that's not the whole purpose of being a programmer. Program is about joining the pieces together, understand the business requirement, and to put those pieces in place so that it makes sense from a business point of view, right? So I'm actually emphasizing on the word business problem, because that's exactly what's the whole purpose of being a programmer, to solve a problem, right? Otherwise, what's the use or point of coding, right? Sorry, I digress, because I mean, I've been coding for years. So when I started programming many years ago, I used to think, oh yeah, writing code is just learning syntax and getting stuff together. I started with the C programming. If anyone out there who use C, you can know how tricky C was. I mean, then C++ was like a revolutionary. When I started working C++, then C Sharp and Delphi, and I've worked with Python and a bit of JavaScript, and now doing with Apex. So yeah, I mean, as a programmer, you will jump from different programming to programming. So you need to understand the business problem you're trying to solve, right? So that's exactly the thing you have to do here as well. So with the flows, need to know where you need to use flows, right? And when you can use process builder, and you can combine process builder and flow together to make the process. If you have a complicated business scenario, if you wanted to automate something very complex. So next section, I'll be talking about approval process, which is one of the important topic as well. So if you got any questions, please do write me a comment. So I will try to respond. And if you like my video, please subscribe. I'm doing this free videos so that I can help you guys to become an awesome platform developer on Salesforce. Right? Okay. All right, guys. I hope you have an amazing day. So take care. Bye.